everyone for that lovely warm welcome. And despite what I said to Porter this morning when I walked in, a big thank you to Changeboard actually for inviting me here today. I get the great job of talking to you about a brand that I love and I feel very passionately about, and that is the Virgin brand. I guess I'd like to start by just considering what is a brand. You know, when I think of a brand, I think of it as an image, a label, a badge even, an identity. And a brand can apply to products, it can apply to organisations, it can also apply to people. And actually today marks the achievement of a lifelong ambition of one of my earliest brand identities. Now, I'm going to see if I can get the technology to work. So this is me as a 6-year-old ballerina. And I used to dream of the day that I'd get to tread the boards here at Sadler's Wells. As you can see, though, rather than standing in front of you in my tutu and ballet slippers, I'm in my jeans and heels, very Virgin. You know, but I think probably, if I'm very honest with myself, even then, if I was ever going to achieve this ambition, it was probably representing a different brand than brand ballerina. So why am I standing in front of you now? And anyone who's been backstage with me will tell you I've been asking myself that question quite a lot. I joined Virgin just over 8 years ago, actually, and I can honestly say it's been the making of me. And in many ways, it's actually helped me to find my personal brand identity, if you will. Before I worked at Virgin, I worked in the non-profit sector. And one of the things that I loved about that sector was the fact that I could be myself at work. I didn't have to park my personality at the door. I didn't have to put on a corporate veneer. I could just be me. And actually, Virgin's been a perfect blend of giving me an opportunity to experience a commercial operating environment, but without having to compromise on being true to myself and to my values. And it's this point of authenticity that actually kind of sits at the heart of what I'm going to share with you today. And when I joined Virgin Mobile, it was actually already part of Virgin Media. It had fairly recently become into existence, and I joined as it was still going through the brand transition. Now, in many ways, that was the perfect time because it gave me the opportunity to see how they manage the brand, both for their people, but also for their customers. And my boss at the time, Rich Roberts, who's up here in the audience somewhere, I saw him earlier. Hi, Rich. Thank you again for putting me in this position. I blame you entirely. Rich said to me after I joined that I wasn't the most qualified candidate from a technical perspective, but he had no doubt that I was the best cultural fit. And actually, this is something that we do at Virgin, is we bring people in who we believe can bring the brand to life. And so then, during the time that I was at Virgin Media, I was an HR business partner to our product and commercial teams, which included brand and marketing. So this gave me great insight into, you know, what on earth do my brand and marketing colleagues do for a start, but also how do they position the brand to our customers, both existing and also prospective. And then this gave me great visibility as to how do we align that customer messaging with our people strategy. You know, an easy example just to share with you quickly is that the team who are behind the designs and the creative look and feel for our retail spaces, they're also behind the designs for our office space. And this wasn't something we made a big fuss about. It's just the way that Virgin views the brand in a holistic way. And then for the last 4 years, or just over, I have been working at Virgin Management, and we are essentially the sort of the group holding company, if you like, for Virgin. And I have the very great pleasure of working with all of the group companies globally. And I work with their people teams on how do we create a consistent internal brand, and how do we constantly push ourselves to do better and to create the best Virgin employee experience we can for our 68,000 employees across the world. So in today's super transparent, hyper-connected world that we've all been hearing about this morning, you know, you can't simply pigeonhole someone as an employee or as a customer or as a general consumer. It's impossible to operate as if these three audiences are distinct and you can serve up a specific brand experience to them that's carefully crafted. You know, gone are the days that you can do that, because if your brand image isn't reflected on the inside, your employees will be telling people about it, make no doubt about that. And so, to create an authentic customer experience, you have to have an authentic employee experience. And there's a very clear commercial rationale for this. As consumers, we all have expectations of brands, and those expectations carry a very powerful impact. And an example that's really stuck with me over the years, actually, is one of, at Virgin Media, we have a business-to-business facing division, and it didn't rebrand until about 3 years, I think, after the consumer side of Virgin Media had been created. But almost overnight after it rebranded, its customer satisfaction levels dropped significantly. Now, the technology hadn't changed, the people delivering that technology hadn't changed, and the performance levels of that technology hadn't changed. The only thing that had changed was the brand, and therefore so had the expectations. So it's so important that your brand is mirrored on the inside, because it's those employees who are the ones that are creating and delivering the brand experience to your customers and your consumers. But also, they bring with them, when they become your employee, their expectations of what it's like to work for your brand. And if the gap between their expectation and the reality is too big, then you have a significant risk around early life attrition. It's not all doom and gloom. There is an upside to this connectivity, which is you have many more opportunities to create brand advocates out of the people that you're in contact with. And this is one thing that Virgin Mobile did when I first joined. I was very aware that they made every effort to create that candidate journey to feel as positive as it possibly could, because even if you didn't get the job, you were still a potential customer, and they still wanted you as an individual to come away feeling good about the brand. And equally, we want this to apply to our employees too. We want them to love the brand so much that they want to be our customers. And I thought, I better just check, actually, how many Virgin companies I'm a customer of, in case anybody asks me that question. And it turns out that it's at least 9, which I have to say surprised even me. So we're obviously doing something right. Something is working. But it's this congruence and consistency between the internal and external manifestations of your brand that we hold with the utmost of importance at Virgin. One way we manage this is through meetings that we call brand boards. We conduct these meetings once or twice a year with every Virgin company. And we look at the overall brand health of the business. So we have reps there from people, from customer, and from brand and marketing. For us, as the slide says, we see the brand as simply two sides of the same coin. So before I give you a couple of more specific examples on how we manage this congruence and consistency, it would be remiss of me not to just tell you a little bit more about what the Virgin brand is itself. Now, I'm sure many of you have got your perceptions and your views of Virgin, but I want to just take a couple of minutes to show you a quick video that will give you a sense of hopefully the breadth of the brand, but also some of the key elements that sit at the heart of it, if this works.
You are concentrating on the area in front of my feet, aren't you?
I'm a born optimist. I think it's much more fun in life to be an optimist, but we have to make our own optimism. If you're in a position to make a difference, you've got to spend every waking hour trying to make a difference.
So it's a yes. Now, what was the question?
So this is one of my favourite quotes of Richard's. Obviously makes my job a lot easier to do as well. It's as simple as, if you look after your employees, they'll look after your customers, and they in turn will look after your shareholders. And this has been core to Virgin's philosophy since we started. And actually, Richard's influence is still very clear to see on the brand, both outside and in. You know, you think about his entrepreneurial spirit, his desire to challenge the status quo, his absolute conviction that you have to treat everyone as an individual and as a human being, not as a number. And these elements are all core to Virgin's ethos. And actually, if you think about it, they apply as much to your employees as they do to your customers. So I'll share with you just a couple of quick examples. Virgin Atlantic was conceived many years ago as a result of a really bad customer experience that Richard had had. And before anyone asks, no, it wasn't a BA flight, but we know about the challenging rivalry between those two brands. Probably a less well-known one, actually, is Virgin Wines. That was created to try and remove the barriers and the sort of perceived pretentiousness that existed around drinking good quality wine. An employee-facing sort of reflection of this ethos is Virgin Management's introduction of unlimited annual leave. Now, this was a natural progression of an already very flexible way of working that we have at Virgin Management. And it was in recognition of the fact that everybody's an individual. We've all got lives outside of work. We've all got commitments that we need to try and manage and we need to try and juggle. So actually, allow us to exercise our own judgment and decide how best to do that. Now, Helmut mentioned earlier, actually, I think about brand values, and one of the things that I know there's a lot of debate about, the real value of values. You know, are they just meaningless words plastered up on your office walls? And actually, I can honestly say at Virgin, they're a truly powerful and galvanizing articulation of our brand. You know, they guide us when we think about what we do for our customers. They guide us when we think about what we do for our employees. And this is impressive when you think that we are quite a complex group. We operate in 30 different countries, in many different sectors, you know, from space travel, as you saw, to healthcare, to mobile phones, to books. You know, one size does not fit all for us, but we do have a red thread, as we call it, that unites us. And this is that we pride ourselves and differentiate ourselves on the experience that we deliver and how we make our customers feel. But we can only do that if our employees feel it too, because they're the ones that are engaging with our customers. They're creating those personal connections. You know, it's no surprise that when our chief marketing officers get together every year, the main topic of conversation for them are our employees, because they know that our people are our brand. So a couple of really specific examples now. A couple of years ago, we were having a conversation with a business that was considering rebranding to become part of the Virgin family. And in order to make that decision, it conducted a load of market research, and that included such things as an analysis of their existing brand, where their main competitors occupied in the market, but also how well did the Virgin brand resonate for consumers there. And the market research showed that actually, if they rebranded to Virgin, it gave them permission in the consumer's eyes to distinguish themselves more significantly from their competitors and tap into a more lucrative market segment. And the space, if you like, in the market that this new positioning gave them was around freedom, so it allows you to do the most, around innovation, so it was digitally savvy and it allowed you to be a bit more progressive, and simplicity. We've heard about simplicity already today, you know, actually just no hidden T's and C's, just being easy to do business with. So we worked with the business to think about how could they apply that to their customers, and they had loads of ideas what that would mean for their products and propositions. Where they struggled more was understanding what they needed to do to bring that to life for their employees. And we had told them all through this process that a Virgin company starts with its people. And, you know, it's more than just painting the reception area red. It's about, you know, embedding it throughout your entire culture. So if we take each of those three things that I outlined in turn, and I'll share with you some of the sort of questions that we asked them and some of the thinking that we encouraged them to consider. So freedom. how can you talk about freedom for your customers if you're expecting your employees to turn up strictly on the dot of 9 o'clock every day and they can leave at 5:30 and take an hour's lunch break, you know, and they have to comply with a very corporate dress code? It's completely incongruent. So we encourage them to think about how can they introduce a bit more flexibility that allows people to be themselves and therefore hopefully do even better, you know, give you even better performance. Let's jump down to simplicity next. You know, we were talking about making it easy to do business with, but that's really hard for your people to deliver to your customers if you've got endless layers of bureaucracy that they've got to work through in order to get a great result for your customer. So an example being, you know, why not remove a very heavily scripted customer service manual and spend more time helping your people understand what's the framework that they can operate within, what are the expectations of the brand, allow them to exercise a bit of their own judgment so that they can respond to the specific situation in hand rather than going through a kind of computer says no checklist. And then the final point around innovation, it's an overused word and often misinterpreted. So in this instance, let's think about it as just challenging the way things are done. And we asked a number of questions at this business. You know, why not ask your people for their ideas? Ask them how they might want to embed the Virgin culture. What are the things that have been really annoying them over the last few years that this rebranding is a perfect opportunity for you to address? Now, the second example, still talking about this sort of congruence and these two sides of the brand coin, if you like, but is about an employee-facing platform that we have at Virgin. Now, Virgin Tribe started out many years ago, before my time, as Dickies Deals. And it came about because as the Virgin companies grew, employees expected that they still get staff discounts on products and services. Now, I can say Tribe in 2016 is very different from Dickies Deals, however good his deals might have been. It is a truly strategic brand asset for us. It allows us to engage and reward our employees. It allows our employees to connect with each other across the group so that they can share knowledge and feel part of something bigger. You know, we are a family of companies. We want people to feel part of that and feel part of our overall brand purpose. It also helps our people to understand the brand better. So they get to see what's going on across the group. They get to hear about the best practice of how the different Virgin companies are bringing the brand to life for their employees and for their customers. It's also, for the anyone who's in marketing will know, it's also a very highly effective customer acquisition channel for us. You know, it's at zero marketing costs. It goes back to the point I was making earlier. We want our employees to be our customers. And in actual fact, you know, they give you the best feedback you're ever going to get because they're very brutal about it. So, you know, this has been a fantastic asset for us. But we also use a lot of brand and marketing techniques. We profile the data that we get from the site so that we can constantly evolve the proposition. You know, we use a lot of data and analytics from the site, which allows us to give great insight back to our Virgin companies, and they get to better understand their people and can create new employee experiences for them. We also ensure that the tone of voice is absolutely consistent. So we treat our employees like they're our customers, but even better because we want them to pay that forward. Because for us, Virgin Tribe is an enabler to achieve our ambition of turning our 68,000 employees across the world into Virgin brand advocates. So I'd just like to leave you with three final sort of thoughts or observations. One is that your employees, your customers, your potential employees, and your potential customers are all in essence the same person, and you need to treat them as such. The second is that we have a load of assets in the people teams in HR through, you know, our policies, through our intranet, through our reward and benefits platforms. And these are great opportunities to reflect and reinforce your brand. And the final point is that translating your brand into the employee experience is the most wonderful opportunity to turn your employees into your brand advocates and your brand ambassadors. And we believe that in today's world, that is far more effective than any marketing campaign your brand colleagues could think about. Thank you very much. Sorry, I ran over.
Perfect.
I ran over.
No, perfect.
Sorry.
Absolutely perfect. Just wanted to pick up on, you talked about the branding And obviously there are lots of companies that come into the Virgin family. How long, and you talk about culture, you talk about values, how long does it take to, this is probably not the right wording here, but turn around or infect a company with Virgin culture?
Well, it very much depends, and this is, anyone who knows Virgin will expect this answer. It varies case by case. It very much depends on the history of that business, the sector that they're operating in, how well known the Virgin brand is. It also depends on the leaders that we have. You know, I'm a big believer in the fact that your leaders set your culture. So, you know, some we see happen very quickly. Others, it's a longer journey, and actually it's a case of truly sort of co-creating what that Virgin culture and experience looks like, rather than imposing it on, you know, a set formula on an existing business.
But it could happen quite quickly in certain companies.
Certainly it can, yeah. I mean, and we've seen some great results. You know, Virgin Money, I think, is probably the one that sort of stands out for us in terms of how that, having the Virgin culture and really creating that with the legacy Northern Rock employees has given them a sort of real sense of purpose and something to really sort of galvanise behind.
And what about unlimited annual leave? Did I hear that right?
You did hear that
yeah.
right.
Okay. How does one go about getting unlimited annual leave?
Well, the reason why I showed the picture of Richard with "Can't Say No" on his T-shirt was basically, according to Richard, you just ask. And the answer is yes.
And how much, can I ask you, I know it's a personal question, but how much annual leave do you have?
Well, my annual leave is unlimited because I work at Virgin Management.
How much do you take?
Oh, I couldn't possibly tell you. I don't know. Do you know what? I probably do take more, but because we work it quite flexibly, so, you know, if I want to take a Friday afternoon off, I take it off, as long as I get my work done. And truly, that is how it works. I know there's a lot of, you know, suspicion about it, but that is truly how it works. So one of the reasons why I've been at Virgin as long as I have.
It's because it works for you. And the answer is yes.
Yes, the answer is always yes.
Amy Sawbridge, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry.